We bring you costumes straight from USC's School of Dramatic Art's newest play, and we discuss Oscars fashion and nominees.
Plus, our guest, the amazing writer, actor, and disruptor, Chris Rivas. His latest show is The Real James Bond Was Dominican, and it's coming to campus this weekend.
It's all coming up right here on The Scoop. Good morning and welcome to The Scoop, your one-stop shop for all things entertainment news. I'm your host, Jacqueline Pinedo.
And I'm Anaja Smith. After a very much needed relaxing spring break, we are back and ready to talk entertainment.
I feel so relaxed after spring break, Anaja. I don't know about you, and I'm just ready to finish the semester strong. Did you do anything fun over the break?
I absolutely did. So much entertainment, but one standout moment was when I went to the New Edition Charlie Brown and Jodeci concert. Although they're from my mom's generation, I was living, I was thriving. I was so excited and happy to have been able to go.
Where was the concert at?
It was at Crypto, and it was very exciting that it was just right downtown. So it was very conveniently located.
That's amazing. Well, speaking of entertainment, one of the biggest events in showbiz is in 3 days. Do you know what that is?
Yes, I do. It is the Oscars, and I can't wait to watch. The categories are full with talent. So tell me, Jacqueline, what is your favorite Oscars category?
That's a tough one. I mean, if I had to choose, I would go with Best Animated Feature. I'm a big Disney and Pixar girl, and Encanto got nominated this year, so I really hope they go home with an Oscar.
Yeah, I hope so too. Encanto had very great reviews on Twitter. And as a fashion lover, one category that I always look forward to is Best Costume Design.
Yes, I'm a huge fashion person too, and I can say I really notice how detailed costumes are in movies.
Costume details are really important because they enhance the character. And if you didn't know, USC has a costume design department within the School of Dramatic Arts.
That I didn't know. Is it a major?
Yes, actually, the BFA allows students the chance to bring their designs to life, starting from sketchbooks all the way to mannequins.
That sounds amazing. And I heard you have a video giving us an exclusive look behind the scenes at the Costume Designs Department.
I sure do. Our own Patrick Quo got an inside look at the SDA costume shop and spoke to students and costume design professor Ann Close Farley. Take a look.
Hi, I'm Carissa. I'm currently working on building a skirt for In the Red and Brown Water, starting it from scratch. We've already had a fitting mock-up on it, and now I'm just doing it out of the real fabric.
Hi, my name is Sophie Hall. I am a theater student here at USC. Right now I'm working on a collar for a chorus line.
I'm Howard Schmidt. I run the shop. Let's see, I manage the money. I approve timesheets. And I generally work on all the shows.
I'm Charlotte Stratton, and I'm working on costumes for Chorus Line right now. We do the fittings, and then I do the alterations.
How do costumes make characters come alive? Well, they're in partnership with the actors. So let's say you have a character that's getting shot. Well, a costumer supplies all the tricks inside the costume to help blow it apart. And so we're storytelling through that mechanism of being able to work with the action and the story. Basically, you can become a costume designer by attending any junior college, and taking courses and really getting into the history of fashion, history of costuming, and why and what purpose each element serves. And then starting to study that and studying people. I love studying people and just having an eye for character. And then, trying it. Yes, when you start costume designing, you meet with your director, who's also met with the scenic designer. It's up and approach you and they say, we're gonna be doing The Tempest. And you put together your mood boards or your sketches, or you draw it out. And you go into measurements, and then you go into building your clothes that you wanna build from scratch. And then you have a first dress where you try everything on. If things don't work, you go back to the drawing board and pull more clothes. If it works, then you just fine tune the details of the show. And then you have a show. You get to go see the show.
So tell me, Anaja, what did you think?
Yeah, honestly, that brought me back to a time when I used to carry my own purple fashion sketchbook. Like, that was my first love. I used to sketch fashions just like that, and it's just exciting to be able to see that students here does the exact same thing.
Honestly, I didn't know that about you, but that's really cool. And also, can we talk about the green dress on the mannequin? That was amazing. Where can we get our hands on that?
Absolutely. I think we need to sneak over and get a secret fitting of that dress because, like you said, it was a really cute dress, and I feel like it's perfect for the spring season. So I am dying to see some of the finished costumes that are featured in the recent SDA productions. Let's see how they turned out.
So this is the first one here. I love the monochromatic look. What did you think?
Yeah, for me, it's really reminding me of Bridgerton. It looks very like regal, very, you know, like an olden day costume, but I really like it. The details are very, very detailed.
The color palette, that's what does it for me.
Yeah, very neutral.
This is the second.
Yeah, for this one, I really like this one. My favorite color is pink. I love the glam of it all, and I think it flows off her body really well. What did you think?
Yeah, the fringe, the detail, I really, really like it. Well, sticking with the theme of costumes, let's get into the Oscars. USC has a history of sending its alumni to the Academy Awards.
That's right, and this year is no exception. Take a look at the SCA alumni that are nominated for Oscars this year.
The 94th Oscars are here this weekend, and the School of Cinematic Arts has a lot to celebrate. 7 SCA alumni are nominated for Academy Awards this year. I present to you the nominees. Best Picture for West Side Story, Kevin McCollum. Best Sound for Dune, Doug Hemhill.
It's time.
And Best Sound for West Side Story, Gary Rydstrom. Best Documentary Short Subject, The Queen of Basketball, Ben Proudfoot.
Became a great female basketball player. At one time, was the greatest in the United States. As a matter of fact, the New Orleans Jazz drafted.
Best Live Action Short Film, The Long Goodbye, Anil Karya.
Did they ask you where you're from? Where are you really from? The question seems simple, but the answer's kind of long.
And Best Live Action Short Film, Please Hold, K.D. Davila and Levin Meneski.
What is the crime of the defendant?
The defendant is Mateo Torres.
I want to speak to a human being. Please. Human being.
Good luck to all of these deserving nominees, and fight on, Trojans.
I really hope our alumni win in their categories. What did you think, Anaja? Have you seen any of the films?
Yeah, honestly, Dune. So Zendaya's like my best friend in my head. So I definitely want them to win. I feel like that movie in particular is highlighting young actresses. They're taking over in Hollywood, I feel.
You know, I haven't watched any of the films that were featured, but I do like Zendaya because she's a Virgo and I'm a Virgo.
Hey.
So that's like my one reason. But I have been wanting to watch West Side Story. Have you heard anything about that?
Yeah, West Side Story. So it is situated in New York, I believe. And then I think that it's an older story, like it's situated in like an older period, which I love period films. I think it allows us to kind of see what was going on back then. So I think they'll win.
Yeah, and like the fashion gives me a little bit of a greaser vibe. Like, you know, like, I don't know, like the cuffed jeans. I don't know, did I see that correctly? Because I feel like I saw that.
And speaking of, I feel like I saw like the finger waves in the hair and like those retro curls. Yeah, very spot on for that era.
Yeah, I mean, well, you know what? Hopefully they win. That's really exciting. I didn't know we had that many nominations for USC in the Oscars.
Yeah, I feel like that speaks to the education that they're offering people here, like to be able to prepare them for a career in the industry and have them award nominated like that right there is very impressive. I'm impressed with USC's education for sure.
I mean, seriously, shout out USC. We're breeding some of the best, right? Well, it's time to take a commercial break, but when we come back, we have a very special guest. Christopher Rivas, writer and performer of The Real James Bond, was Dominican, a one-man show coming to USC this weekend. Stay tuned.
Public service announcement from the United States government. There may be goblins hiding in your house. If your home security isn't good enough, goblins could get into your house so they can find easy, accessible food. Do you really want goblin ectoplasm all over your beautiful home? What about the new sheets you just got? Better be careful. Studies have shown that if you have a goblin infestation in your house, you should round all of them up, put them in a pot, and bake them in the oven at 400 degrees.
Feeling overwhelmed by school? Homework assignments keep piling up? Crippled by existential despair? Caffeine not cutting it? Well, then I have a solution for you. Procrastination.
Wow, so how does it work?
Simply take your work and stop doing it. Play video games. Go on your phone. Endless possibilities.
Boy, howdy do I feel relaxed. Thanks, procrastination. You love Uber Eats, the #1 app for getting your favorite local and chain foods delivered right to your door. Uber Eats is proud to present Uber Feeds. We want to go all the way for our customers, which is why we will have Uber Feeds delivery drivers literally feed your meal to you. Safety is our #1 priority, which is why every driver is vaccinated. Better yet, download now and get a delivery and feeding absolutely free. Uber Feeds, stuffed in more ways than one.
Welcome back from spring break, Trojans. Here are some exciting events on campus to be on the lookout for March 25th through March 27th. On Friday, March 25th, head over to the Brain and Creativity Institute to see some of the brightest individuals in Los Angeles speak. At the Bovard Auditorium on Saturday, March 26th, check out a performance of The Real James Bond was Dominican. Also, on March 26th, come to the Norris Cinema Theater to see the screening and performance of The Met in HD, Giuseppe Verdi's Don Carlos.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Scoop. Today, we are thrilled to talk with the extremely talented actor, writer, and storyteller, Christopher Rivas. Christopher is here on campus for a much-anticipated performance this weekend of his acclaimed show, The Real James Bond was Dominican. Welcome, Chris, and thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me, y'all. I'm happy to be here.
Yes, well, we are very excited to talk to you, but first, let's take a look at the trailer.
When I say James Bond, what do you think of?
Caucasian?
Sean Connery, Daniel Craig, Roger Moore,
Pierce Brosnan.
White dude with a suit and tie.
As a kid, I was afraid of everything. Like, everything. I would actually walk around New York City not stepping on any cracks because, have y'all heard the phrase, you step on a crack, you break your mama's... Yeah, I believe that. I didn't like myself. I didn't like how I looked, how I talked. I didn't want to be me. Now, who I wanted to be above all else was the baddest person I knew. James Bond. He's wanted, he's loved, everybody likes him. He gets mad honeys.
So obviously, that trailer shows just how talented you are to be doing a one-person show. So tell us a little bit about it and what can we expect?
I like to call it a two-person show because there is a drummer on stage with me who's doing incredible work in like building the scene, and he wrote the music for In the Heights. So he wrote the drum line for In the Heights, so I feel really good about that. But people should come and expect an amazing night of theater and fun and laughter and learning things you probably didn't know about the Dominican James Bond and about Porfirio Rubirosa. And overall, it's just an incredible show that I can't wait to bring to the USC audience.
Okay, so you say the Dominican James Bond. So talk a little bit more about that. So I saw that there was a portion of your play where you were calling out different characters that are predominantly white, right? So why is James Bond, who's usually a white character, Dominican?
Yeah, so there's this man named Porfirio Rubirosa. He was twice the richest man in the world. He was married to all these incredible heiresses and princesses of the time. And he was a diplomat for the DR, and he traveled all over the world and lived all over the world, and he knew Ian Fleming. And so through research, I've come to believe that Ian Fleming based this character, a lot of the character of Bond, on Porfirio Rubirosa. And so when I discovered this, the piece sort of became less about him and more about the question, how would my life have been different if the person I loved most as a kid looked like me? You know, had my hair, my nose. What would my life have been like? What would my self-worth have been like? And so
Absolutely.
That's the journey.
Yeah, and that's very profound because I feel like when it comes to playing characters or just going through life every day as a person of color, like how has that impacted you as an actor, as a storyteller, as a disruptor?
Yeah, we want to work. I got student loans, you know. We want to play the game, and the game is usually not designed for us. And so to disrupt, I think, means to enter the world that was not initially made for us and then to make our way into it. And Rubirosa in this show taught me a lot about what it means to do that, especially as a young brown man in Hollywood.
Yeah, and speaking of being a brown man in Hollywood, I'm curious, like, what has your experiences been? Because I realized that, you know, you have a really interesting background. You know, you went to school in Manhattan, right, the Upper East Side, and then you were playing with your friends in the Bronx. So how has that impacted you as a person and actor?
Oh, New York can give you something that no book or that city alone. And, you know, growing up in Queens, in a predominantly sort of Jewish neighborhood, and going to school on the Upper East Side and hanging out in the Bronx, or being in Staten Island, and that place, New York City, and the subway taught me so much about how to compose, about how to act, really, how to become different people and watch different people. And we talk about a bit of that in the show.
Yeah, and then as far as identity, because I feel like that seems like an ongoing theme within your work, which is great. So how has being a person of color informed your career choices?
Ooh, that's a big question. I think being a person of color informs our career choices because we can't escape it. And we can try to escape it, but we can't escape it. And what we can hopefully do as people of color, as sort of bodies of culture, is be more conscious about the decisions we're making to either embrace our identity or to run away from our identity. And I like to think that I am making conscious choices to embrace it more and more.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? I actually saw in your monologue, being racially ambiguous, that you mentioned when it comes to tanning, you don't want to tan, or like people of color, we're expected to kind of just stay in this safe margin where we can't get too dark, and then we are too dark in some spaces. So I'm curious, like, does that affect your character or characters that you've played or roles that you received?
Yeah, I love tanning. I was made for the sun.
Yeah.
Like, that is more a comment on a lot of people I know who don't want to get darker. And because it does affect how they're seen in media and in culture, and how that is a narrative that is unnecessary, no longer needed, and definitely needs to be disrupted.
Yeah, I like the word disrupted, and I feel like you use that to describe yourself. So in what ways do you show up as a disruptor every day?
I think disruption is this really powerful energy. A lot of us are set in our ways about what is, or what we've been told is. And disruptors, and there's a whole bunch, and you're one, and I'm sure there's a bunch in this room. Disruptors are people who decide to step into a space that it thinks it's solid and finds the cracks and shows what is available to create in that new space. And that's what I like to do with my art. That's what I think the play does. It creates spaces and conversations where we can talk about things we haven't talked about before.
And speaking of the play, like how or what challenges, if any, have you faced writing it and producing it and even acting in it?
Oh, the challenge of meeting myself is hard. I've been writing this thing. God, the first draft was probably in 2013. You know, and the first time we did it in New York City, was 2018. And it's gone through draft after draft. And part of that is meeting yourself over and over again. And when you do a play that is about yourself to an extent, you have to be honest and vulnerable enough to call yourself out on all your stuff.
Yeah, and I'm curious, what was that process like? So when you are sitting there doing your draft, working on it for years, and being able to finally bring it to fruition, what does that feel like for you?
Every time it feels closer and closer, like I'm getting to the heart of it. I think part of it is this character, this man, Porfirio Rubirosa. Other people know him, and yet somehow I became a little bit obsessed. You know, I say haunted in a good way, not in a scary movie way. And every time I do the piece, I'm getting closer to why we chose each other and what story we're trying to tell and share with the people.
And tell us a little bit more about this character. So people who are not aware of him, or even life in New York, what is that like?
Porfirio Rubirosa was, he was unlike any human I think maybe any of us have ever met. He spoke 5 languages. Like I said, he was twice the richest man in the world. He raced Ferraris for fun. He boxed. He flew B-52 bombers. He lived all over the world, primarily in Paris, but he was a Dominican man. He was this just bon vivant, full of life, can sort of do everything well person, and then he vanished from history. He was well known. He was in all the tabloids. I mean, he was the Kardashians before the Kardashians. He was all of them wrapped in one. And then he just sort of vanished from history. And my approach to this show is, why did he vanish from history? And how many beautiful stories of people of color have vanished from history, and how many of us young brown black kids need to see those stories.
Wow, very interesting. So when it comes to characters like him and people that maybe you've come across in New York, how important is that to see, especially like you said, growing up as a brown boy, and just me being a person of color as well? I understand when you see those key figures what it means. So what does that mean to you to be able to put this on for the next generation?
Everything, right? I hope that someone sees my show on Saturday or any day and they decide to tell their own story. They decide to find their own hero or their own anti-hero and challenge themselves and ask bigger questions about their own lives so that they can speak their own existence.
And when it comes to speaking of our own existence, what advice do you have for that next generation that's coming up who want to be like you? Maybe they look up to you, they want to be an actor, they want to be a writer, a podcaster, an author. What would you recommend for them to do? What steps do you think that they can take?
Tell your story. Tell your story, because everyone's going to try and tell you what you're worth and what your value is. And you are the only person who can truly know what you're worthy of. And so you have to tell your story. If those spaces don't exist, you have to create those spaces.
That's very, very, very profound. Just kind of carving out your own path is really, I feel like, the overall message of your brand, really.
Yeah.
And so I am curious, for those aspiring writers who are struggling creatively or just don't know how to break into the industry, what do you recommend?
Oh, keep going. Keep going. That's it. Just keep going. Y'all know the marathon? You know about Nipsey Hussle and the marathon?
Yeah, of course.
If it's not Nipsey, it's someone else, right? Just sustain. Right? I don't honestly think people are more talented than anyone else. They just have the ability to sustain and keep going. And that's one of the hardest things to do, is to have the heart to keep going. And so just keep going, keep making, keep creating, keep believing.
Absolutely. And the discipline as well. So I am curious. We have to talk about Oscar, your character Oscar in Call Me Kat. Okay, so he shows up at her job and help her work. He won the Catchlorettes, and she has met his mom. So tell us about Oscar.
Yeah, Oscar
and their relationship.
Oscar's cute. He's fun. He's optimistic. He's a little quirky. Sometimes he's a little in another world. And him and Kat have this just really lovely dynamic. And this season, what's left of the season, there's some like very exciting things happening that I can't talk about, but some shenanigans that will take place. But Oscar's been a joy to embody and meet.
And what is it like? Because I'm familiar with Kyla Pratt because of the Proud Family. Okay, like I grew up on it. It's my favorite
It's
show.
back.
It's back.
Are you watching
It's
it?
back. I don't know. I saw that theme song
It's
and I'm
good.
like,
It's good. It's good. It's good.
Is it? Okay, I'll definitely watch it because you said it was good. But what is it like working with people like that every day?
KP's a legend. She doesn't miss. She hits every joke. It's a master class. I work with a handful of people on that show who are a master class in how to show up, not only as performers, but as people, and how to be present in a space and be there for others. And KP is one of those, KP being Kyla Pratt. She's the homie, and she's made it just a warm, safe place for me.
So speaking of a warm, safe place, I want you guys to get a look of it. So let's roll a clip of Call Me Cats.
Bye. Oscar, come meet the stars of my favorite TV show when I was growing up. This is Joey and Jenna and
Michael.
Right.
So lean back, catch some cat, and see what blossoms.
Why don't I take a picture of all of you together?
Wait, I want to be next to Joey.
Okay. Oh! I'm gonna get cropped right out of this thing.
The season premiere of Call Me Cat, Sunday, January 9th on Fox.
So cool. So originally you were not even like a main character. So talk about that process of going from how you were there to now you're there like every day, every episode.
Yeah, that was cool for me. It was amazing. I went on last season and I guess we clicked. You know, Maya and I, or Kat and I, really clicked, and 1 turned into 2, and 2 turned into 3, and that turned into 5, and then they wanted me back, and so now I'm back, and I'm really grateful and having a lot of fun.
Yes, well, I'm so happy for you, and thank you for being representative of the brown and black community and people of color in general. So I know that we have to obviously talk about your event because we want people to go.
Yeah,
so
come, y'all gotta come.
That was such an incredible conversation. Thank you for taking the time to sit and talk with us.
Of course.
I know people have to register for this event, but where can people find more information about the show?
It's free. It's at Bovard at USC. It's Saturday night at 7:30. USC has an Eventbrite for it, so you just register, you show up. It's a pretty full house, so get your tickets now. I'm going to be honest, and it's going to be an amazing, amazing night. So get online and join us.
Great. And where can people find you, follow you, connect with you?
myname.com, ChristopherRivas.com, or my Instagram, Christopher_Rivas.
Yes, you guys definitely be sure to tune into the Oscars this Sunday at 5 p.m. and look out for Christopher's show on campus this weekend. And for another episode of The Scoop next Thursday at 10 a.m. See you next time.
Thanks, y'all.